equality along gender lines. Kachibale is a mother of 2 preteens, a girl and a boy. She spends most of her free time engaging in healthy physical activity, evangelizing, and pursuing her master's degree, her Master of Science in Cybersecurity at Arkansas University, New Mexico in the US. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me hand over to Ms. Samari Kachibali to take us through the next session of this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, John. It's been an honor for you to give me that heartfelt introduction and ushering me into the session. Thank you very much for having me here, and I would like also to thank ISACA and the management for making these platforms available for us to learn and continue to appraise ourselves on the progress and what's going on in the world of IT and cyber risk. So I'm very honored today to moderate a session that is ushering us, that is bringing on board something that is fairly new, or not new, but an updated version of a framework that we've been having for a while. So today we have our speaker, and I'm going to take the opportunity to introduce our speaker for the day. And I'll also talk about what he's going to tell us about. So our speaker today is Mr. Zach Okere, who is a cybersecurity coordinator at NetHope, responsible for coordinating cybersecurity activities for over 60 plus NetHope members, which consist of most of the humanitarian NGOs. He has previously worked with the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, as a help desk technician, IT support specialist, network and infrastructure technician, and at the cybersecurity focal point for the African Horn region countries. He is also actively involved in cybersecurity community building activities for the Cyber Peace Institute, where they offer cybersecurity services to the local NGOs for free through their Cyber Peace Builders program. Mr. Zach is a graduate of an MSc in computer systems. He also has an MA project management in MIS. He has a Bachelor of Science in distributed system and certifications in cybersecurity. On top of that, he has gone ahead to sharpen his skill through certifications, including CCNA, Security, CC, and CISA. He also volunteers in his local community where he conducts security awareness training. This is such a rich profile, Mr. Zach, and I can't wait to hear what you have for us today. He will be taking us today through our topic, which we have, which you're all aware of, the CIS Controls framework that was upgraded to version 8. It's a new standard of cybersecurity compliance, and we are ready to hear what our speaker has to share with us. So over to you, Mr. Zach. Thank you.
Wow, Rita, I'm really humbled by that introduction. Thank you so much. And I'm going to say something about the volunteership that I do at the Cyber Peace Institute, just a minute or so about it, where we source for local NGOs, not the international NGOs that I work with at NetHope, but local NGOs. They're small NGOs that do not have the capacity to hire a cybersecurity expert, or they don't have the resources to buy the tools. So at the Cyber Peace Institute, we welcome anyone who's got an IT background to volunteer their services. And also, if your organization if you can come with your organization, say you're a tech company, you can also come with the organization and register it there. And you'll be able to find NGOs there which need a lot of assistance in regards to the cyber security areas. So I'll just drop a link there. If you want to register for the volunteering, you're most welcome, because we are here to help the cyberspace be safe, right? Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, now I will share my screen. Yeah, I can see that it is up. Please let me know if you're able to see CIS Controls presentation.
We can see.
Okay, that's cool. So today we're going to just not really discuss, but I'm going to share with you about CIS controls, because at the NetHope, where is my full-time job, this is what we are encouraging the INGOs that we are supporting to use. So there are very many other frameworks that are used by other organizations because of the regulatory things that they have in their countries. Like NGOs in the UK have been asked by the government to use the Cyber Essentials framework if they want to get any funding from the government. So there is a little bit of conflict there. But the good thing about CIS controls is that even if you're using NIST as your cybersecurity framework, PCI DSS, or Cyber Essentials, you are able to map those controls to the CIS controls, and it's going to give you what you're going to get from NIST or from any other framework that you're using. So this is what we are going to discuss, or I'm going to present. And at the end of it, I'll show you a demonstration of the CIS CSAT tool, which is a very simple tool to use. You can use it for your organization as long as you have a domain name and you're not using your Gmail or your Yahoo email account. You can create an account, and you should be able to access all the controls, the 18 controls in version 8, which have been upgraded from, or is it downgraded? The version 7 had 20 controls, but this one has got 18 controls, and it has been compressed just to include things like cloud, virtualization, mobility, which were not there in version 7. So what is a cybersecurity framework? We might be here assuming that we know what a cybersecurity framework is, but in short, these are just set of documents that describe the guidelines, standards, and best practices in every field that you're working in. There are those things that guide us to put us in check. Yeah, the guidelines, standards, best practices. Designed for cybersecurity risk management. That is the cybersecurity framework. And also they help us reduce the organization's exposure to weakness and vulnerabilities, whereby hackers and other criminals may exploit. But much like a framework in the real world, when you're coming up with your home and you're creating the framework, the skeleton, the structure, the framework here in the real world consists of a structure that supports a building or a large object. So the cybersecurity framework also provides that foundation and structure and support to an organization's security methodologies and efforts. Okay, so that is just a brief about framework. But why do you need a framework? Why do you need a cybersecurity framework in your organization? Let's say you're an organization of 5 people. You already know that we have 5, so we have 5 computers and everything. Why do you need one? So these frameworks provide guidelines and best practices to organizations to follow so that you can secure your systems, your networks, your data, and also they help organizations establish a culture of security and also try to reduce the risk of data breaches and attacks. So that you as an organization, you need the framework to protect your valuable assets from threats. So you also need to have an inventory of everything because you can't protect what you don't know, right? So the frameworks also tend to help organizations identify and manage risks, detect, respond to the threats, and also recover from incidents after you've been attacked or something. So implementing the frameworks helps the organizations and also your business to build trust with your customers because they know you have procedures in place that you are you have procedures in place to protect their information, their data, or everything. So you tend to gain that kind of confidence from your customers, partners, and stakeholders. And also for regulatory compliance, like what I mentioned earlier about cyber essentials, or even in the US, some of the INGOs that are based in the US are told by the US government, if you don't use the NIST cybersecurity framework, then we are not going to give you A, B, and C. So regulatory compliance is also very important. And implementing these frameworks also helps you, as I said, to comply with the relevant laws of the country. Yeah, the present example that I've given you about the UK and cyber essentials. So we have different types of frameworks, and it depends on which category that you want to use. So we have the control frameworks, which are specific controls or security measures which organizations can implement to protect your information or systems and data. The frameworks offer a set of guidelines for organizations to follow to reduce their risk of cyber attacks. Then we have the program frameworks, which are a type of cybersecurity framework that they focus on development and management of programs, cybersecurity programs, that is. And these kind of frameworks provide guidelines and best practices for developing and implementing, maintaining, and assessing the policy development, like training awareness, incidents, response planning, and also ongoing monitoring and improvement. An example of program frameworks, if you've used any framework, is Cyber Essentials. We have East Trust and HIPAA. Then we have the risk framework, which provide a structured approach to risk management, which allow organizations to identify and prioritize potential threats. They also assess the likelihood and impact of those threats and develop strategies to mitigate those risks. An example of this kind of framework is the NIST framework, also the CIS and the ISO 27001. I'm sure most of you have heard of that number. Yeah, I'm ISO compliant. So the main functions of a cybersecurity framework, not the CIS, the cybersecurity frameworks that you have is to identify threats, protect the organization, detect where threats are, respond, and also recover after you have all been hacked or something, so that there is that business continuity here. So to identify, you assist in developing a hierarchical approach to cybersecurity, concerning frameworks, individual resources, information, and capacities. Protect, just acting as a shield, so that to ensure the conveyance of essential foundation administration. And in addition, protection underpins the ability to mitigate the effect of a potential cybersecurity threat. The detect function also refers to the proper exercises to identify the event of a cybersecurity experience, and then the respond. Now you've been attacked. What next? Yeah, which include the steps of making a move towards distinguished cyber security. Then, after all that has happened, now you need to recover and continue the businesses, which enables you to decide how to ensure your flexibility, to establish any capabilities or administrations that were hampered during the cybersecurity incident. So these are the 5 main functions of a cybersecurity framework, and that is why it's important to know. So if you have a cybersecurity incident, you can't start with recover before you identify where the threat came from and block those loopholes, and then you protect what is safe for the moment. Then you try and detect where it's coming from, then you respond, we recover, and go to the next step. Okay. So these are some of the examples of the cybersecurity frameworks. We have the ISO 27002, 001, PCI DSS, which deals with payment card payments and the ATMs, the debit cards and everything. Then you have the Center for Internet Security, the CIS controls, which we are going to discuss, which is a set of 18 controls. It has got 156 safeguards, 3 implementation groups we're going to see. We have HITrust and FedRAMP. All this you can find them on the internet and just know more about them. But today we are going to concentrate more on the CIS control. So what are the CIS controls? These are just 18 critical security controls where people just sat down and they thought that these are the domains that are really important to maintain cybersecurity in organizations. So the controls are alive. They are not like cast on stone. Tomorrow we might have 17 or 21, depending on the environment or what's really changing on the internet or the cybersecurity space. So they're the best practice. They're best practices for cybersecurity developed by the Center for Internet Security. That's why they are called the Center for Internet Security Controls, and they provide a prioritization list of actions that organizations can take to enhance their cybersecurity posture. If you follow them one by one, as I said earlier, they have 3 implementation groups. We have implementation group 1, whereby it's just basic cyber hygiene, depending on the size of your organization. Then we have implementation group 2, where is foundational, building in from the implementation group 1. Then we have implementation group 3, where is more involved in complex kind of organizations that have got this like federated kind of INGOs that we have around. And the most recent version is version 8, which was released, I think, an year or 2 years ago. So from version 7, now we are on version 8. So yeah, so it's the latest, launched in 2018, sorry, from the previous version 7. It's not very new. It's still trying to find its way. It's only that very few people use it. And as I said earlier, it has got implementation groups, which are 3, 1, 2, and 3, depending on the size of your organization. If you want to do just the basic kind of cybersecurity assessment to the people in your organization, then you can choose implementation group 1. And then the next slide is the changelog. So what was happening in version 7 and what is happening in version 8. So you can see version 7 on the left side of my screen has got 20 controls. We call these controls. And they're not just controls because when you go to control 1, we have other subtopics of inventory of hardware. So what these people thought is that we can compress it a little bit and also change the way we approach this. And you can see control 14 and control 4 have been merged to control 6. So control of admin privileges and control of access based on need to know are now called access control management. Yeah, so moving from version 7 to version 8. Excuse me. That's why they've been compressed, and now we have 18 controls and not 20 as before. So as we're going to see, you'll see that the CIS control version 8, like control 1, inventory and control of enterprise assets, has got like 5 safeguards. Control 2, the same, has got 5 or 6, or is it 7? But yeah, I'll show you how it goes. So these are all the controls. So we have inventory and control of enterprise assets as the first CIS control. As I said earlier, you can't protect or you can't defend what you don't know. If you have 200 computers, you need to know who's using what before you start protecting them. And you can see here, we are saying that it has got 5 safeguards. Implementation, under these 5 safeguards, if you want to be compliant under implementation group 1, you need to achieve 2 out of the 5. Under implementation 2, IG2, sorry, implementation group 2, IG2, you need to achieve 4 out of 5 of the implementation groups. Implementation 3, group 3, you need to achieve all the 5 safeguards so that you are compliant with this sub-control. I've not yet met an NGO or an organization that has achieved all this because it's a process of learning and new things are coming. Control 2 has got the same 3, 4, 5 up to Control 18, which is talking about penetration testing. So why were we moving from version 7 to version 8? They wanted to increase or to include things like cloud-based computing, virtualization, mobility, outsourcing, work from home after the COVID thing, and also changes in attack tactics by the hackers. So that's why we're moving from version 7 to version 8. If you had data from version 7, the problem is that you can't import it to version 8. Yeah. And I'll be able to do a live demo of how these things, how the controls work. Excuse me. So these are the 3 implementation groups. Implementation group 1, which are just basic controls. These controls, they provide the foundational cybersecurity measures that all organizations should implement, depending on the size of your organization. If you're small, if you're large, you need to do all the safeguards under implementation group 1. Yeah, so the main focus of this implementation group is on areas of inventory, control of hardware, software, secure configurations, continuous vulnerability. And all of you here, if I am I'm correct, you're all into IT and you all know about inventory management, secure configurations, vulnerability assessments. Implementation group is all about, IG2 is all about foundational. So it's building from implementation group 1, and they just provide additional protection against common cybersecurity threats. And they cover areas like the email, browsers, malware defenses, data recovery, secure network configuration and boundary defense, and data protection. For the implementation group 3, which is for large and complex organizations, address the working management and governance aspects of cybersecurity, which includes areas like security awareness training, incident response, yes, penetration testing, and continuous monitoring. So you'll notice that each control within the control framework is accompanied by specific implementation recommendations, which organizations can use as guidance to achieve the desired security outcomes. So it's also important to know that the controls are not meant to be one-size-fits-all solution. Organizations should tailor the implementation based on their specific needs. Risk profiles, like an NGO that deals with children, maybe it's not really, you can't compare it to the bank, for example. So your risk profile also matters which controls that you're going to implement in your organization. And also regular updates, monitoring, adjustments are crucial to maintaining a cybersecurity posture. That one I don't need to tell you. Patch management, updates, yeah. So when a friend of mine is doing a presentation and you see Windows needs to be activated, yeah, those are some of the things that we check. So I'm going to explain how the controls are broken down, and I'm going just to use control 1, which is inventory and control of enterprise assets. As I said earlier, it has got 5 sub-controls. The sub-controls include establish and maintain detailed enterprise asset inventory. They also address unauthorized assets. Yeah, those people who come and connect their personal laptops to the network or a router. Utilize an active discovery tool. Use DHCP logging to update enterprise inventory, and use a passive asset discovery tool to know what is in our network. So, as I said earlier, oh, sorry, I'll go back. Under this control, if you want to be compliant under implementation group 1, you have to achieve 2 out of the 5. And the 2 include 1.1 and 1.2. The ones in green are the ones that you need to be compliant, so that control 1 of the CIS controls under implementation group 1 is compliant. For implementation group 2, you'll see this color. This is amber or orange. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1.1, 1.2, 1.23, and 1.4 needs to be achieved if you want to be compliant on IG2, IG3, all of these 5, 1.1 to 1.5. And they've been divided like so from control 1, 2, 3, 4 up to control 18. Yeah. So we'll do a live demo and you'll be able to see this. So how can organizations use CIS version 8 to self-assess? Yeah, if you want to implement it, if you want to impress your boss there. The first thing is familiarize yourself with the CIS controls. You start by reviewing the controls document, which provide a detailed description of each control and its associated objectives, requirements, and metrics. Understand the intent of what you want to do, scope of each control to ensure you have a clear understanding of what needs to be assessed. Also, evaluate current security practices, which include assess your organization's current cybersecurity practices against each control. As I said earlier, it's not one size fits all, depending on the size of your organization and the risk profile. Also identify areas where you have implemented controls effectively. Maybe you've done so and you don't know. Yeah, so identify those areas and where improvements are required. So this evaluation can be done through a combination of document review, interviews, and relevant personnel and technical assessment. Also map controls to your environment because the environments are different. We have the environment of the bank, we have the environment of a children's home, for example, or an organization that deals with food and everything. So map your controls to your environment. Don't copy paste what is happening in another organization and trying to paste it this other side. Also, you need to conduct a gap analysis, compare your current security practices with the requirements and metrics outlined in version 8, identify gaps or areas where your organization falls short of the desired security posture. This will help prioritize efforts so that you don't just firefight, you don't know where to start. So you need to prioritize which one is really important instead of just starting from nowhere. Then you develop an action plan based on the results of the gap analysis, create an action plan that outlines the steps and needed to improve your organization security posture. Then from then, you can now implement the improvements, begin implementing the necessary changes and improvements that you've identified in your action plan. Which may include updating your policies and procedures, enhancing your technical controls, conducting awareness training to your staff, or any other measures required to align to the CIS version 8 controls. Also, you need to progressively measure the progress, continuously also measure and track your organization's progress while implementing the version 8 controls so that you know where you are last year and this year when you're presenting your report to the board or to the management, at least they know we've moved from this place to this place. We need this kind of money to move to the next step. And periodically do a reassessment, which will help you to know where you stand. So these are the very important items that you need to know how you can, how your organization can use the CIS version 8 controls to improve their cybersecurity postures. And how does version 8 improve security awareness and visibility? Improve. Okay, yeah. So we have 7 items which include clear objectives and requirements. The CIS provide clear objectives and requirements for each control, outlining the specific actions, measures organizations need to implement. As I showed you, we started with the first one was inventory management. The second one was software inventory. And the third one up to the 18th one, which is more about penetration testing. The second thing is risk-based prioritization, where the version 8 controls prioritize controls based on risk, focusing on prioritizing their security efforts focusing on the most critical threats and vulnerabilities. Then we have compliance and measurement metrics. We know with compliance and measurement metrics, organizations can use to assess their security posture. Some of these metrics do provide a quantifiable way to measure progress and also track improvements. Then we have customization to organizational needs, very direct. You can't copy from another organization and come and paste it here. So by tailoring the controls, your organization can enhance their visibility into areas that are particularly critical to your operations. Yeah. So if you're an NGO, if you're a corporate kind of thing, if you're an insurance kind of organization, you need to tailor make it to fit to your organization standards. Then alignment with the industry standards. As I said earlier during the beginning of the presentation, you can map the CIS controls to any kind of control, whether it's NIST, Cyber Essential, or any other control, you can map it. And the controls are community driven. So we share knowledge. If you find anything that you need to share out there, you can go to the CIS website. And from their website, you can just draft and say, this is, send an email to the email that is there and say, this is what you're experiencing. And you maybe if it's something that is affecting like 90% of the CIS users, then they can include it in the next version of the controls. So what are the benefits? Cost effectiveness, yeah. So if you're going to do the self-assessment, instead of calling someone from outside auditors to come and do it for you, you're going to save on something in regards to the budget and cash. And also, if you're evaluating it yourself, then having that knowledge is very important because you'll know where your organization stands instead of just getting a report from these people who've come to do the assessment. Also increased awareness. So self-assessment using the version 8 controls, it promotes a deeper understanding of an organization's security strengths and weaknesses. I think it also raises awareness of potential vulnerabilities, gaps, or areas that require improvement. So you, as the person who's doing this kind of assessment, you'll be able to know your organization by your fingertips. And it's also good to share this knowledge with others so that in case you move from one organization to the next, then all these people have this information that this is where we stand as an organization. You can also present it to the board. Maybe it's going to increase your paycheck. Also, customization, because you know your organization, then you can customize the assessment as per your organization needs. Do we have the right people to run this assessment? Yes. Do we have someone to help us with this information? Yes or no. So you customize according to that. Continuous improvement, compliance validation. Compliance is a very important word in this presentation. And risk mitigation, where by self-assessing against the controls, the organization can identify and mitigate potential risk effectively. Accountability and transparency. So yeah, that's straightforward, but it demonstrates an organization's commitment to cybersecurity and its willingness to hold itself accountable, that we really want to have our cybersecurity, the cybersecurity posture of our organization to be tops. So it shows some kind of accountability and also resource allocation. So if you're doing the self-assessment, it helps organizations prioritize resource allocation by focusing on the most critical security areas, and also allocate time, budget, and personnel to address particular control. Yeah, and also there's that advantage of continuous monitoring. What are some of the advantages what are some of the advantages? As you've seen, that should be my last slide. Comprehensive coverage. Yeah. The controls, the CIS version 8 controls provide a comprehensive framework that will cover a wide range of cybersecurity areas. Yeah, that's why they moved from version 7 to version 8, because there are new areas like working from home, virtualization, cloud that were not addressed in version 7. Then there's the risk-based approach, where version 8 controls take a risk-based approach, focusing on the most significant threats and vulnerabilities that organizations face as you go down to the least kind of threats that organization faced. So you will tend to deal with the risks that are significant before you move to the lowest risks that that organizations face. Then there is that adaptability and scalability. You can adapt it to your organization as much as it's like an off-the-shelf kind of control. You can customize it to your organization. Many people are using it, so it is industry-backed and community-driven, as we saw. So a lot of people do give their opinion in that. Measurable and auditable. So the controls provide a clear and measurable framework for organizations to assess their cybersecurity posture. That is straightforward. And also there is that aspect of continuous improvement, where the controls emphasize the importance of continuous improvement in cybersecurity, where you are advised, or like every month you need to do something in regards to this particular control. If you don't have an inventory, then you need to come up with an inventory. Next month, come up with something else. Next month, come up with something else until you are compliant in all. Yeah, so that is the end of my presentation. But if I'm allowed to do a demonstration.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's yes.
Or would you like to first take questions before you demonstrate, or would you like to first demonstrate and take questions?
Let me do the demonstration. Maybe some of the questions are going to be answered by the demonstration. Yeah. So you're able to see my screen once again? Are you able to see NH dashboard?
Yes.
Someone
please.
confirm? Thank you. So so copy this and I can put it in the chat. Those of us who would want to create one for the organization, that's where you start. That is the landing page. So you'll be requested for your name, the website of your organization, and the contact person, I think, and everything. So this is the landing page. And you can see we have 18 tabs here. These are the controls. When you click on CIS Control 01, these are the 5 safeguards that I had mentioned and taken a screenshot of for my presentation, which includes establish and maintain detailed enterprise asset inventory, up to using a passive asset to discover asset discovery tool. Yep. When you go to Control 17, it's the same. Control 17 has got 9 safeguards from 17.1 to 17.9. And you can look at the description of this particular subcontrol. When you just click here, you'll be able to see what this subcontrol about incident response management means. 17.1, designate one key person and at least one backup will manage enterprise incidents and blah, blah, blah. But if you don't have that person, or this particular safeguard that does not affect your organization, you just disable it here so that when you're doing the average score, it doesn't include this. Because if it is enabled, then it means it's going to be included in the final aggregation of this. So you can disable it and any other that it does not apply to your organization. So if our organization is very small and we are only getting how many, like 5 or 10 people, yeah, we don't need to do a penetration testing, for example. So these are some of the things that you need to disable so that when you're doing the assessment or you're doing the aggregation, it gives you the correct standing in regards to the assessment that you're doing. So if you want to do the assessment, you come to under all current assessment and you click on all controls, and you'll be able to see all the 156 safeguards from 1.1 to 19 point something. And I'll select the second one, address unauthorized assets. You click on that one. Do you have a policy defined? You see the way it's very easy. If you don't have a policy, you see no policy. If you have one, but it's not complete, informal policy. Is it implemented? Parts have been implemented. Parts of the policy are implemented. Is it automated? Say, for example, not applicable to you guys. And is the control reported? This one now means, do you report this to the board, to the management, to the senior management, or any other person of higher authority in your organization? And you say, on some systems, not all of them. And then you click on complete sub-control. Okay, this one you'll just say yes, you can continue. But if you want to build, what do you call this, the database of the CIS controls, if you have like a policy, you can say, you can upload it here under evidence documents so that they can use it to enhance the ones that are already there and for people that don't have. So when it's done, you click on validate and you'll be able to see the control was assigned to this person, completed to this person, and still loading. And you can see validated by this person. Say, for example, Rita is the one who's supposed to validate, and it comes to her, and she thinks that we don't have an informal policy. Our policy is complete. You'll just revert the validation, and then you come back here and you say approved. We have an approved policy, and then you click on validate, and then you move to the next safeguard. So it's loading, it's loading, it's loading. Yeah, so there you are. So when you go back to the dashboard, you should be able to see that like this sub-control 01 has already been done what? Someone has worked on it. And also sub-control 17, when you look at the spider map, you can see that sub-control 17, if you compare it to the industry standard, the industry average, sorry, it's here at 39. Yeah. So what does that mean? Are you above the industry standard or below? Okay. So the spider map will help you do that. So say, for example, you're a big organization and you have a department that deals with data, for example, and I think it's control 4. No. Okay, I'll just pick any control, like use of unique passwords. Yeah. So I'll select it and I'll come back here and I'll say, assign it to someone. I'll assign it to someone. And if that person is already in the group, I'll assign it to them and I'll give them a deadline and click on save. And that person will receive an email notification telling them that someone has assigned you this control because you deal with that. So if it's someone who deals with penetration testing or infrastructure, you don't have to do all these controls. Just look at the controls that you are able to do, and those ones that you're not able to do, you forward them to the department or the person who's able to do that. So how do we create a new assessment? Okay, so on the landing page here under the dashboard, you come to the current assessment and you start a blank new assessment. So you'll give it a name, HH, for example, and you'll select version 8. Version 7 is still in use. There are some people who are still transitioning to version 8. So version 7.1 is still in use, but this time around, we want to select version 8. Of course, it will take time to load. So as we are waiting, I can as well cancel, but that is how you create a new assessment. And then you select, if your organization is small, you just want to do the basics, you select implementation group 1 and click OK. And all this is going to change and only give you the safeguards that pertain to implementation group 1 only. Yeah, implementation group 1. Okay. If you want to do all the 3 implementation group the same, you select the last one. If you want to do implementation group 1 and 2, you select it from here. Yeah, so the good thing with this, you can auto-generate reports in slide form or PDF if you need it to be read by some technical people. And you can even download it in Excel format and share it with people who can upload it to the CIS platform. Like, sorry about this. Okay, so it's here. So let's say you've already created an assessment. You'll come here and click End Current Assessment and start a new assessment using file upload. So if you have the Excel somewhere, you can just click here and you upload it. The Excel file, there's a very nice Excel file that has been created by an organization called Audit Script. It's still loading on my computer. Just a moment for it to finish loading. Yeah, here we are. Okay, so you can see this one. It's here. Not that one. Not this one, sorry about that. I just want to show you this Excel file that you can fill offline and then you upload it on the CIS map. Nope. Okay, unfortunately, it's not there. But this is like a summary of all the assessment, all the controls that you've done if you want to present it to the board. So has your organization maintained a comprehensive inventory of all the computer assets? You can select one of the following. You say implemented on some. Oh, sorry, it's not. Oh, I need to enable this. And you can see the risk address keeps on changing depending on the answer that you've given, like this one, automated on all system. So when you finish all this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, it will give you a summary of where you stand in regards to that cybersecurity. Then you can share this with your executive, your board, or anything who's in a position of authority within your organization. So when you go to Audit Script, you should be able to download this. And it's very helpful. It just gives you a summary instead of going through the trouble of all the CIS controls. That is, if you're a small organization and you know everything about everything cybersecurity or IT about your organization. But if you're a large organization, say like World Vision, we have World Vision Uganda, we have World Vision Kenya, you can't do this because you need to have something that is aggregated so that you can give a report that reflects all the federated or the offices that you have around the globe. So you can't do this. Yeah. So I will stop sharing my screen and I'll return it back to the moderator, Samari, to continue from there. And if you have any questions, I'm here. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Zach. A cyber round of applause for you. Thank you very much for thank you very much for taking us through this new but not so new concept or framework. Actually, I didn't know that it was formerly from with what's the name of the company, the former one? Anyway, when I remember it, I'll let you know. But thank you very much. So we have some questions for you here that we'd like you to answer. We have a question from Amol. There are actually two. One, what type of cybersecurity framework is suitable for small industries? The second question is, please help us understand data privacy framework for small industries. We also have a question from Brian, and he says, hi, Zach. With time, do the earlier versions of the CSI risk assessment become obsolete? I'm imagining that a company may not have advanced technologically, and hence the need to reference an older version of the tool. What advice would you offer to this client in this case? I think you can first take these three as we wait for others. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Samari. So we are moving with the time. So if you're still using the legacy systems, you need to upgrade. And Brian, your question, it's a good one, yes. So there are those organizations that are still using the legacy system because maybe the management is saying, now if it works, why do we need to change, right? So the CIS controls have put that into consideration. You can see we have version 7.1, which has stayed there for a very long time. You can still use it. But now the problem is that you can't upload the data that you got from CIS version 7 to version 8. It means that you're going to use version 7 all along. So the problem will be when version 7 is going to be made obsolete. Yeah. If you not have upgraded your systems, then it means you'll have to use another framework if it's going to support your systems. But for the CIS, when you're moving to version 8 with all these subcontrols, I think it has captured a lot of even the legacy systems, if I'm not wrong. Then Amol, small industries. I think I mentioned something to do with implementation groups on CIS. We have implementation group 1, 2, and 3. Implementation group 1 has got 53 safeguards, which cover just the basic cyber hygiene that your organization needs to know, needs to have. Every organization needs to have that baseline, the basics, yeah, that you need to have for you to operate, unless you're flying blindly or you're building the plane or you're flying. So implementation group 1 will give you that. Small organizations are encouraged to use that. Large and complex organizations or multi-agencies, you can use all the 3 implementation group, 1, 2, and 3. So from 1 up to 20 with 156 safeguards. But for implementation group 1, which are very basic, it gives only 73, not 56, 73 safeguards, which are very basic for any organization. For data frameworks, on these controls, just a moment, let me pull up the presentation and see. Control, we have a control that deals with data protection. Yeah, and it is one of the controls that wasn't addressed under control version 7, and now it has been addressed under version 8. So, which screen should I share? This one. You should be able to see control 3, and it has moved up. You can see it was here under number 13. It wasn't given that attention under CIS control version 7, but version 8, it has moved up from version 13, from number 13 to number 4. So that is how important the CIS, the data protection aspect of everything has been given. It's very important, and you can see it's here, 3. data protection. So you can use this for your frameworks if you want just something to do with an entry level, but a framework that just deals with data protection, I've not encountered one yet, unless you, yeah, maybe I can do something and then get back to you. But for the CIS controls, Control 3 covers all that. Amol, have I answered you?
Thank you very much for answering those 3 questions. We have 4 more. The fourth is from Amon Charles. Is the CIS V8.0 free?
Before you continue, Samari, yes, it's completely, absolutely free. You don't have to pay anything. Thank you.
Okay. We have Sheila who is asking, how can a company effectively decide on a framework to implement? I guess this is a wide discussion.
Yes, that's one we need to sit down and discuss, but it depends with your organization and also the regulatory kind of thing that is there in that country. So if your organization leans toward the US, then you most probably will start using NIST. If you are leaning towards the UK, then maybe those people in the UK will ask you to use Cyber Essentials. But if you are neutral, then CIS is going to cover you. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe to also get some more clarification on this. I mean, we have other frameworks that have come before. We have ISO, we have COBIT, we have. So I think this is a bigger question, basing on also the history of the others that we have had on how to decide which one to use. So I would request you also shed some more light based on that additional information.
The question from Diogratius.
Then the question from David is saying, can CIS website generate Excel templates for download that can be filled and then updated later?
Yes, it can. Maybe I wasn't very clear, but after you've done that, after you've filled from the CIS CSAT tool, you've filled in all those safeguards, you should be able to download. You can download it into XLS format, and then you can fill it offline. And then when you are ready, you can upload it back, and it's going to generate the spider map and aggregate your results. So it's very much possible. Okay.
Okelo is asking, how do I implement CIS control with other framework or policies like the PCI DSS, ISO 27001 in the context of a bank?
Yes, how do I implement CIS controls with other frameworks? So you can't implement these controls concurrently. It's either you do NIST, and then after you finished NIST, because there are some controls that are not aligned here. You can see maybe control number 1 for NIST is not inventory control. It could be something different. Control number 13 for NIST could be something different. But after you've completed, I wish I had the link, and I will share this presentation with the ISACA team, and then I'll put a link where you can map. You should be able to map the. Just a moment, maybe this presentation is still up. It shows. It clear? Not yet. It's not there. Sorry, but there's a way that you can map the NIST to the CIS control. So there is a mapper from the CIS website. You get it, and then you just upload the NIST Excel file on the CIS mapper, and it's going to give you something equivalent to NIST on CIS. So you can't do them concurrently unless you have all the resources, the time, the budget, and the human resource. But you can just do PCI DSS separately, and then you come and map it on the CIS control. You can do ISO 27001 or 2, and then you come and upload the Excel file to the CIS mapper, and it's going to give you something equivalent to the other framework that you are using.
Okay, we also have a question from Javira. Great presentation, Zach. Regarding multinationals with semi-autonomous subsidiaries, can I rely on this assessment tool using information for a single subsidiary? Additionally, there is a question on reliability of the tool and privacy given the fact that it's freely available. Please shed some light into this. Thank you.
So what we are doing, we are working with several INGOs. I gave an example of World Vision. You can see that we have World Vision Kenya, World Vision Uganda. So there are those people who have decided to use the assessment from the headquarters, which kind of mirrors what is happening in the field. But if you want to do it for your specific organization, I will share my screen once more so that you're able to see what I'm talking about. If you're able to see my screen, say yes. Are we able to see my screen?
I see the screen.
Okay, yeah. So you can see all these organizations have been mapped to our primary organization. And when you look at the structure, there is the home. So let's say, for example, this is the World Vision headquarters. Then we have an organization here, World Vision Kenya, we have World Vision Uganda, we have World Vision Tanzania, we have World Vision Congo. You can create those sub-organization and assign someone to do the controls assessment for that particular office, and then CIS is going to aggregate it for you. But in our case, we're just taking the results from the headquarters. Was it Sheila who asked that question?
It was, I think it was Jabil.
Okay, okay. I hope I did answer her.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very much possible to do that. You just create the mother organization and then you create the sub-organization. At the end of it all, it's going to aggregate all these results and then give you the report as one.
Okay.
In terms of security, if you look at the CIS website, it's the US government, or during the elections. So the CIS is very secure. So if a mall, for example, creates the account for the organization that he's working for, and a mall leaves that organization, it means that no one else will be able to access that the data for that organization until you write an email to CIS, and then they're going to remove a mall as the person in charge, and then put the person, the next person who was in line to replace a mall. Okay. And this data is used, it's aggregated such that you will know where you stand in regards to other organizations in your industry. So if I am in the banking sector, I will be able to know that my bank, the Bank of Uganda, in regards to other banks, we are at 39 out of 50 in regards to this particular control. So we are not doing well. We need to up our game. We are at 39%, things like those. So the comparison of the very many organizations that are using the CIS CSAT tool also helps, and it's very secure, I can assure you that. To find an organization like NetHope using this tool, yeah, just for your information, NetHope is an organization that is based in the US. To find an organization like NetHope using this tool and has got data for all these big INGOs, then yeah, we have done our due diligence before we implemented anything.
Okay.
CIS. Yeah.
Okay, we have 3 minutes to go. We have 2 questions. Let me read them right away. One is from David. Is it possible to tailor an assessment that is specific for a system? Then Adrian is asking, can this version allow integrations with vulnerability scanners?
Adrian, I'll need more information about the vulnerability scanners that you're talking about. Yes, David, it is possible to tailor an assessment that is specific for a system and an organization. So say you have a finance system that you're working on, we have a finance module that you're working on. It's very much possible because all these 156 safeguards have got at least 2 or 3 things that deal with finances. So it's very much possible, David, to tailor make it just to fit into that particular setting. As I said earlier, it's the CIS controls. They are not one size fit all. It's you to tailor make it to fit your organization and the systems that your organizations are using. Yeah, so you can't copy paste it from this other side to this other side. Vulnerability scanners like Nessus. So integration, that's if I get your question right, it's a little bit not in line with the framework. Why? Because you'll find that the inventory, do you have a passive kind of something that detects the equipment that has been plugged into your network? Yes. So is Nessus one of them? Or are you doing penetration testing? That is control number 20. Yes, we are doing penetration testing, but it won't ask you for specific tools that you're using. Yeah, it will just ask if you're doing penetration testing on your network. It will ask if you have a data protection office in your organization. It will ask if you have a policy in regards to data protection, if you have a policy in regards to penetration testing. But integrating the tool with the CIS set tool, no. This is just a framework to help you know what you have, where you need to go, what you need to improve. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, thank you very much for that eye-opening, this eye-opening discussion and taking care of our questions and answers. I'm sure our audience still has more questions and answers, and if you'd share with us your contacts or how we can reach you, we'll be able to reach you should we have more questions to ask. So we'd like to thank you very much for being part of us today. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation and demystifying this framework for us. We hope that we are going to use it for better the assessment and the assessment and the health check of our organizations in terms of cyber risk and IT risk. And indeed, I also looked at it. It has taken care of the advancements in technology. You see, there are virtualizations, work from home, cloud computing. So it has evolved to represent the current environment that we are working in. So thank you very much for that, Zach. We really applaud you. Thank you very much, and we hope to have you back soon.
Thank you so much too, and I'm really glad that you gave me this opportunity just to share the little knowledge that I have on CIS. But I'll still ask you guys to volunteer your services to the Cyber Peace Institute, even if it's 2 hours. Yeah, so I hope to see you on the other side. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. You'll share the details with the chapter, and then they can communicate and we'll reach out. Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I will hand over to the chapter management to conclude the session. Thank you.
Okay, members on call, kindly allow me appreciate Mr. Zach Okere and Ms. Samarika Chivale for taking us through this session. You have done wonders in this session. Thank you very much, team. You've been a very great team to to present to us this evening, and I believe the members have achieved the objective of attending this webinar. Just to have something, I'll just give a cybersecurity quote of the day, and this quote comes from Dan Kaminsky, who is an American computer security researcher, and he says, in cybersecurity, the smartest people are those who admit they don't know anything. Once again, in cybersecurity, the smartest people are those ones that admit they do not know everything. So thank you very much, Zach, for enlightening us about this CIS version 8, and I believe the members have benefited from it. Some few announcements that we have to make. Our next webinar will be on the 31st of August, 2023, and it will be under the theme, Securing an AI Ecosystem, the next big security challenge. Please mark your dates on August 31st. Please endeavor to attend. They always say iron sharpens iron. We need to sharpen each other. Then two, our 12th annual East Africa Information Security Conference will be held on the 27th to 29th of September at Speak Resort Munyonyo. Please plan accordingly to attend. Below is the registration link, and please keep following us up on our social media platforms. We're already posting there. Then for those that have that are in organizations that wish to attend, please coordinate efforts there. And I believe we can reach out to a number of people to attend this conference. It's going to be hybrid, so please make efforts to register and attend. Then the last announcement, become a 2024 member today and get the rest of 2023 free. That communication is from Isaka. Please check out that link for more information about that. Next on agenda, I'm going to hand over to Rita to take us through the next session. Rita, please take us through. Rita, are you on call?
Yes, I am on call.
Okay.
Was on mute. Thank you very much, John, for coordinating this event. Thank you very much, Zach and Samari, for volunteering this webinar. I want to take this opportunity to introduce to you our volunteers and to thank them for the work they do for the chapter. You know, volunteers are the drivers of the chapter activities that serve the Isaka community and the IT professionals in Uganda. Of course, without your participation on the chapter events and activities wouldn't have been successful or such a success. So we appreciate you. We appreciate your participation. Thank you very much. On call, of course, we have the one and only Mr. John Chikubye, our chapter CPD coordinator. Thank you very much for all that you do. We have our owner, Ms. Marika Chivale. She's the former IT governance director and a VP for Shielded Tech Committee. We have Mr. Joseph Lurega, he's the membership director. We have Mr. Lloyd Sentongo, he's the education and events committee member. We have Ms. Barbara Wabwire, a member of the education committee and the Shielded Tech committee. We have Mr. Brian Witevembera, our past vice president and a membership committee member. We have Ms. Sharon Chisinde, the event committee member. We have Mr. Bernard Arinaitwe, he's the marketing and comms committee member. Mr. James Paul Kakembo, a member of the marketing and communications committee. We have Ms. Diana Agaba Tukundane, he's a member of the Shielded Tech. Mr. Kefa Tusubira, a member of the certifications and events committee. Thank you very much for attending this webinar. And of course, we have Mr. Augustus Ndamaje from Isaka Rwanda chapter. Thank you very much for joining us. At this point, I want to take this opportunity to introduce to you Before I introduce the president to give the closing remarks, I would like to ask Zach to give us the parting thoughts. Then I will be able to invite our president to give us the closing remarks. Zach, you're most welcome for the parting thoughts. Zach, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Are you able to hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So you need to implement in regards, my parting shot is in regards to the presentation that I've just made. Don't assume that you know everything that is in your organization. Just implement any kind of cybersecurity framework and you'll see the wonders that it's going to do. It's going to make your life very easy as a cybersecurity expert in your organization and industry. That's from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zach. That's wonderful. Before I invite the president, I would like to appreciate the chapter staff, that's Brenda and Sarah, plus the volunteers at the Secretariat. Thank you very much for the good work and the wonderful work that you're doing to make this work a success. We highly appreciate your work. Thank you very much. At this time, I would like to introduce and welcome to you our chapter president to give us the closing remarks. Mr. Bernard, you're most welcome.
Thank you, Rita. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry I can't switch on my video. I'm in a not so favorable place, but that's what I look like today. I want to thank the presenter and the moderator for today's session. It was powerful and yet simple enough for us to follow. I believe that we are getting to a level where our presentations are going to start to make a difference throughout the work that we do. I want to thank everyone who came to join us today, and specifically people like Gita and Augustus, Alan Ranyaga, who dialed in from outside the country to be a part of this, as well as other guests whom I might not have recognized. I want to continue to request you to be a part of our programs, physical, online, and all other forms of engagement that we put out there, because that is what will help us to gain value from our time as members of the chapter. With those few words, allow me to thank everyone who has been a part of organizing this, the committee members, the volunteers, as well as staff and board members and supporters of ISACA Kampala chapter. Thank you so much, and I wish you a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, members, and have a good evening.
Nice evening.